All right, we're live. So, hey, good evening, everybody. This is Morbid with another edition of the Pulpit of Doom podcast, the official podcast of DreaminDemon.com. And with me tonight, I have both Jaded and Pagan.
Hey, everybody.
And I think this is episode 7, and we may be close to figuring all this crap out. Possibly.
This is 6.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully.
This is number 6.
No, because I got a stupid number 0. Hey, and whoever's listening to the podcast on your end, turn it down.
Sorry. I refreshed the page and I didn't realize the volume was up.
It's all right. I heard my dumbass voice coming back at me. I was like, yeah, we ain't having that tonight.
Oops.
So for anybody who has never joined in before, this is, like I said, the official podcast for DreaminDemon.com, where normally we talk about the top 10 stories we reported on for the week, and we do have some good stories, but there was also a lot of really good ones that I didn't get a chance to report on because some of it happened yesterday evening or today. And so we'll probably just skip around a bit and just talk about some stuff that seems interesting. Speaking of, as me and Jada were talking about before Pagan came on, we do have a death of Vinnie Paul from Pantera. Died at 54 years old. I don't think they've said how he died yet, though. So
They have not that I've heard.
I'm kind of hoping it was like drugs, because I hate when people die in their 50s. That's coming around quick. Yeah, I don't want
versus cholesterol and caked up arteries.
Well, it just seems like such a. Who's listening to the podcast again?
It's not me.
Not me.
It just seems like a shitty way to go. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's a shitty way for him to go young anyway. But I've lost almost every single one of my favorite bands. The lead singers are dead already. Whether they hung themselves or OD'd or blew their brains out. And I think 90% of my favorite band leaders are dead from suicides. But while I hated it, it's almost like I would almost rather them go out of suicide or drug overdose than like diabetes or cholesterol.
Some old people disease.
Yeah, it's like once you get past 30, all that shit starts kind of...
Creeping.
Well, man, I'm telling you, it's like I had a coworker, her husband. This fucker was just out cutting the grass, and he was out cutting the grass, push mowing, and he asked his daughter to get him a glass of water or something to drink or something. And when she went to the house to get the drink, and she came back outside, the fucker died of a heart attack right there in the yard.
She should have hurried up with that drink.
He was 48.
Oh, shit.
40 fucking 8 years old and of a heart attack. And so you start thinking about shit like that, and you're like, I got a fucking ticking time bomb in here.
Especially like when your arm starts to hurt, you think to yourself, oh fuck, your heart attack arm. You start to think, oh fuck, this is it. I'm having a heart attack.
I kid you not. I'm going to start going to the doctor for no reasons, just to start doing routine every 3-month checkups, every 3 months. Yep, get your fingers up my asshole. Check it every 3 months.
Every 3 months because you want to.
Hey, Morbid, if you go every 3 months, he's going to think something. He's going to think something other.
That's okay. I don't care. He can think whatever he wants to think. But as soon as my prostate starts doing something funky, he's going to know about it pretty damn quick.
He's going to think you like Mr. Finger.
He can think whatever he wants to think. Think away.
You old people in your TMI, man. I mean,
man,
really.
Well, they say you're supposed to get that proctologist exam at 45 now.
I thought they actually upped that like you only have to be like they actually upped it into your 50s.
No, they rolled it back.
Nah, I think you're wrong about that, dude.
Okay, well.
Well,
we'll have to check that out. We'll have to research that one.
Well, it's real easy. While we're sitting here bullshitting, how about type in Google and see what it says?
I'm doing it.
I figured this would be your chance to like prove me wrong and rub it in my face, rub my asshole facts in my face.
Oh shit! I didn't know it was going to be that kind of a podcast.
Because see, I heard it actually had went up into they had upped it into your 50s because of the advancements they've made in not only detection but even
actually, what is it called again?
What? Your finger up your ass? Isn't that like a proctology exam or prostate exam?
Isn't that a colonoscopy?
Yeah, colonoscopy.
That's with the camera, though. That's not
right. No. Look, listen. I know we're idiots here, but can't you just say what age did you start having your prostate examined?
Well,
we're sitting here trying to think of fucking Doogie Howser shit. We're like housing it over here. No wonder we're dropping like flies. Not that it matters. I'm pretty much an optimistic nihilist at this point, but if I can prevent it, I would rather prevent it.
Well, great. Now I have other things to worry about.
Okay, if you
can cause greater infection risk.
If you choose prostate cancer screening, you should get a butt test every year and between the ages of 50 and 75.
That's what I thought. Thought they moved that shit up to 50.
I'm not talking about prostate. Are you talking prostate or colon?
Hell if I know. That's a man thing anyway.
I figured the way they get to your prostate is through your ass. So I figured while you're in there, they can do the colon shit at the same time since I think it's all in the general area.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, if not, you're in some real trouble. But you don't have cancer, sir, but your colon is nowhere where it should be. You should have been dead before you walked in here.
Here, just put this over your face. You're going to sleep a little bit. We got some work to do.
We got to do a little rerouting. Hey, I had a buddy of mine who had something rupture in him. And he was in the hospital, and he was actually in a coma for like a month. But he had something rupture in him, and I don't know exactly what happened. And I hope he's not going to get pissed if he hears this, that I'm talking about it. So I'm not going to give too many details on the personal nature. But in regards to the medical shit he went through, so much shit went into his body from this. It had something to do with his colon or his intestine. So much shit went into his body. They actually had to do a full body wash twice on this guy, where they actually wash out all your organs and stuff. So they basically just dump you out and wash you and stick your shit back in again.
Oh my gosh.
He's still dealing with that to this day, but the fact that he even survived 2 of those damn things. It's crazy
I
shit.
am going to have so many fucking nightmares.
Thank you. That is a nightmare.
I got one more medical thing that somebody just told me about the other day that happened to their husband, and this shit's crazy. And then we'll get on with the story.
Yeah, how do you know you're old? You sit around here talking about your poop shoot all night long.
That's where we're headed. All our ailments. But listen to this. Listen how scary this shit is. This guy, I won't say his profession or anything, but basically, that doesn't matter. He stayed home from work a couple days because he thought that he had the flu or he had allergies. He didn't know which one it was. And like most dudes, he didn't want to go to the doctor for it. So after a couple of days, though, his wife was like, fuck this. You need to go to urgent care and get checked out. This has been lasting too long. You've been sleeping all day. And he couldn't see out of one of his eyes real good. It was blurry, seeing out of his eye. One thing leads to another. And by the end of it, they had flown this dude to a critical care type hospital where they had to remove MRSA out of his fucking legs via surgery. And his eyeball, the retina came detached because it had gotten so affected and swollen. His eyeball, not his like the outside of his eye, but his actual eyeball. So now he's blind in one eye, and he's currently at home on a 5-time-a-day antibiotic IV drip. And he's not even getting better. He's just not getting worse. And and then this all started from just a simple infection that he could have gotten from just like rubbing his eye.
Great. That's awesome.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank God for powerful immune systems.
Hey,
some of us don't have one of those.
I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'm going to go out that way.
For a second there, I thought you were going to go with some sort of parasite, and I was going to have to kick you in your shin.
No. Not that I know of. But anyway, just saying, though, it's just crazy how quickly you can get taken down by something microscopic like that. And, of course, the hospital was thinking it was like probably one of the 99% cases that they get, and it just turned out he actually had a 1% case where something they wouldn't have looked for. Because whatever he had, none of the antibiotics they were using was working on whatever he had, and I don't know. They're supposed to be over here tomorrow, so I may see if they got any more details on exactly what the fuck did this guy have.
Yeah, well, who knows? But it didn't sound good.
No.
And by the way, just for the record, colon and rectal cancer screening should start at 45. American Cancer Society. So yes, get in there and get that finger up your butt.
I'm going to. I have absolutely no problems with it. All those jokes we used to make back in the day, those I don't care. He can think. I don't care what he thinks. I don't care if I feel two hands on my hips when he's doing it. Just check it. You check it any way you got to check it. You catch that shit fast.
Hey. But the question is, at that point, if he's got two hands on your hips, is that his finger?
No, that was the joke. It was actually his penis.
Okay. I know.
I had something. You reminded me of something. We started talking about gay sex, and now I don't remember what it was. So I'm sure it'll come back to me. But anyway, the top 10 stories for the week, we had some decent ones, but one of them is not one of our stories for this week, but it was one we reported on last week, and you have to see this video, and it sucks because I know you guys, you and Jaded, can't actually see this as I'm playing it in real time. So I'm hoping you'll at least be able to hear it. So, and that's really all you need to hear anyway. So, okay. I don't know if you guys remember this. Pagan, you may not. Jaden, I know you do. And this was the case out of, I don't know where this was at. It doesn't matter. It was these two idiots. They were 19-year-old Mona Lisa Perez and her husband or boyfriend, 22-year-old Pedro Ruiz. And they had a YouTube channel. And this may start ringing a bell. But the dude had a YouTube channel where he was going to start doing extreme pranks. And she had a video channel on YouTube that was more of a family vlog. But they were hoping that they were going to become YouTube famous by doing stupid stunts on YouTube.
Like, that's so groundbreaking.
Right. Well, this guy actually came up with a good one. What he came up with what was to get a 50 caliber Desert Eagle, which is a hell of a gun for any of you ignorant gun people out there. That is a very, very powerful, big ass gun. And he was going to hold a book to his chest and then get his girlfriend to shoot the book. That was going to be his stunt. And in preparation for this, he had shot a book of similar thickness before. But because these aren't very bright people we're talking about, I don't think he understood. Well, that's a big shocker, but they didn't understand physics real well. And the difference between shooting a book that's standing up with nothing bracing it and actually holding a book to your chest, In one, the bullet's just going to knock the book over and probably is not going to penetrate it. And the other is going to go through the book like a knife through, hot knife through butter. And that's exactly what happened on camera with their 3-year-old daughter present. This girl ended up shooting and killing her husband or boyfriend on camera. and the reason why we reported on it was not just because of the actual, details, but because she actually was charged. I can't remember what they charged her, 2nd-degree manslaughter. And since that time, they had worked out a deal to where she is going to serve, I don't know how many months she's going to serve, but they're going to allow her to serve them in increments, where she'll go to jail, serve some time, and then she's out because she's got kids and stuff. So anyway, the reason why I'm bringing this up is the investigators or whoever's in charge of all that crap has released some of the videos. And one in particular was the one they were taking right before she shot him. And so the reason why I bring this up is I want you to actually hear these guys talking real quick. Hold on 1 second here. Let me, here they are. Listen to these fucking geniuses.
So my channel is going to be all the crazy stuff that Pedro does. Or, what's up, everybody? It's Pedro. Who's Pedro? I'm Pedro. The crazy Pedro.
Can you hear that?
Could not.
Oh. No, I hear nothing. I thought I went deaf for a minute.
Well, that's really weird because you could hear when I was playing music that one time.
That was that one time before you started playing with the sound again.
Oh, God damn it. I don't want the delay. Fuck. That kind of sucks. I need to figure that out. There's one thing to put on the list. How can I get you guys? Hey, you know what? Do any of you have? You got the Discord link up? So you got your Discord up. So yeah. I'm gonna post this link in here for you guys, just so you guys can watch it at some other time. Yeah, it's in there. So whenever you get a chance, watch this video. Okay. But they are just, it is absolutely, it's not shocking, and shocking just how stupid these two were in regards to this particular stunt that they were going to pull. But that kind of sucks because I was kind of hoping that you could actually see the video at the same time, and I don't know why you can't. There's got to be a way I can share this at some point. So I'll figure that out later. I've seen other podcasts where they're not in the same fucking room, but they're watching the same video. So there's got to be a way to do that.
Sure.
I'm sure it has something to do with time zones.
No, that would explain things. But no, I know there's a delay. But I thought that you guys could actually hear what I was hearing, but I guess you can't.
Nope.
Huh. Well, that's kind of I'm sitting here now. My wheels are turning. I want to fix it, but I'll worry about that at a later time. Anyway, I'm gonna play just a bit of this video when they're pulling up the gun. So let me find it here real quick. Here we go.
Okay. This is a .50 caliber Desert Eagle. The cool thing about this is it's tiger stripes. I don't know if you can see it. It's a tiger printed gold Desert Eagle. It's not full gold, just because gold is too weak, but when you see a .50 caliber handgun.
Now the one thing that you guys obviously can't hear, but he's describing this Desert Eagle, and I skipped. This video is like 9 minutes and 44 seconds. And within that 9 minutes, he tries to explain to everybody the reason why that this gold Desert Eagle is not real gold. And he keeps licking his fucking lips.
Interesting that you point that out.
But what's inside, what's ridiculous
really does,
is this 300 grain, what's crazy is this 300 grain .50 caliber bullet. Just to show you how big this bad boy is, let's first lock it in. Okay, show you how big this bullet is. Here's my watch, G-Shock, and watch the length. The length of this bullet is the entire face of my G-Shock.
And I don't know if you're watching this video at all that I put there, but at the 6-minute and 55-second mark, he's actually showing the size of the bullet by placing it on top of his G-Shock watch, so to give you some point of reference on just how big this bullet is.
Okay, I'm dialed in.
But I guess even an idiot, I mean, even if you were just a complete moron, how he could look at the size of this bullet and not think it was not going to go through a book is just absolutely mind-blowing to me. And they've already reproduced people. They already have like 2 kids, I think. But anyway, if you get a chance, you guys need to check out that video. It gives a lot more insight, because I could not figure out how 2 functioning people would have even attempted to pull this particular stunt. And then I watched this 9-minute video, and you actually start feeling stupider watching this guy talk. And the reason why it's 9 minutes and 44 seconds, it probably could have been 5 minutes. They have to keep, because he's going to edit it later, you know. So this is like the raw recording before they edited it. So he has to keep repeating himself over and over again, because he just keeps flubbing whatever the fuck he's supposed to say.
You make it so I don't know if I want to watch this fucking thing. Do I just get right to the end when he does it, or what?
They're not releasing it. They're not releasing when he actually shoots himself. But you can go to any point of the video. It doesn't matter. Every single point is stupidity on display. At every single point. At no point do I have to go, wait a minute, he's about to do or say something stupid. It's 100% of the video is stupid.
Okay, well, I will check that out as soon as the podcast is over.
Do it.
I
will. Let me
Don't
see
get
here.
bossy, I will.
There was also... You guys may not, I don't even know if we want to get into it, but there was a, I don't know how his or her name is pronounced. I know it's Chloe Segal. This probably will mean nothing to you guys if you don't follow internet type drama.
Which I don't.
Well, it's a long story that I won't get into. If you really, really want to read everything about her in the most disgusting way possible, you can read the Encyclopedia Dramatica entry on her, which I will put. And of course, it's Encyclopedia Dramatica, so you know what that means. Let me.
Drama.
Well, it's definitely not PC, and so. But anyway, she was a transgendered dude and a quote-unquote game developer, notorious, at least in the circles that I run in, if you follow any type of gaming stuff, especially the Gamergate stuff that went on a couple years back. But she was always embroiled in one bit of drama or another, and he suffered from a lot of mental illness and a lot of suicide attempts that were normally, or at least up until the other day, it looked very apparent, just drama type stuff, you know. But the other day, he went through with it, and in Seattle, walked into a park, started reading some type of manifesto, and poured some type of flammable liquid over his head and lit himself on fire. So he actually did it, but I didn't know if you knew anything about this person or not, but I'm assuming you guys don't know anything about him. Man.
No.
Sorry.
No.
What do you
yes,
guys?
I apologize.
What do you guys do? You guys not waste your time with internet drama at all? I mean, am I the only one wasting my life on this crap?
It depends on which part of the internet you're talking about, but yeah, I don't even know what the fuck Gamergate is, to be honest with you.
Never mind then.
Yeah, just totally. I don't know anything.
You guys are just like so old.
Yeah, okay.
Y'all need to get with it.
I'm the oldest one here, and okay.
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I think there was somebody on this podcast whose kid had to tell them what triggered meant.
What trigger did?
What it meant.
Oh, what trigger meant? Yeah.
No, that's not me.
That was me.
I know. That's what I'm saying. You guys are just out of the loop.
Oh, no. See, because I know what trigger means.
Well, I know what a trigger is.
Oh my God. You guys need to embroil yourself into the internet drama circles.
No thanks. I have a Facebook. That's enough.
Yeah, I saw that there was a little bit of drama going on the other day with one of our ex maybe forum members the other day. A little bird told me about it.
Well, there's always something going on, so I'm not exactly sure which one you're speaking of, but we will talk about that later.
Are you telling me that there's Dreamin Demon drama?
Oh, the forums on our website are nothing but drama, except for the last year. It hasn't been bad at all. Or if it is, I wouldn't know because I don't deal with it. Sabrosa does, and she usually will tell me. She'll give me heads up on stuff, but I haven't got a heads up on anything. Well, except for that. Huh?
Well, like I said, there's always some kind of something going on somewhere on Facebook, so maybe we need to.
We'll definitely talk about that when we stop this. But yeah. But
Pagan, most of the drama is from some of the older, OG members.
Our forums went through a few cycles over the last 14 years, and there was one particular point where it was I don't know, I'd say 90% male, 10% female.
I don't remember that part.
Well. The drama back in those days were nothing but dudes arguing about what video game was better. That wasn't around. But arguing
a little bit, I was a little bit a part of that drama.
Or we'd argue about religion and stupid shit.
In politics.
And politics, back when you could actually argue about politics and not, want to murder somebody afterwards.
Or get stabbed.
I'm thinking of one member that I really had some interesting conversations with.
Who?
God, what's his name? He had the little cat with the watermelon on the head or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But,
Swivel.
Yeah. But then after the Casey Anthony case came up, the dynamic switched and went quite the reverse, where it was about 90% female and 10% left of males that stuck around. But even they got sick of it.
5% of that 10% of males left.
Yes.
Soon turned to the other side.
Yep. Right, yeah. It was like the 10% of males we had left. 5% of them said "fuck this" and left, and then about 2% of the 5% turned just as bad as the 90% of the females. So then we were left with just a couple dudes that seemed like that they actually were sane. And no offense to any, if the shoe fits anybody I'm describing, that's just the way it was, and anybody that's been around would agree 100%. That's exactly what happened, and just unfortunately, it was just drama every fucking day, every single day. It was something.
It was some ridiculous shit too.
Oh yeah, so
absolutely ridiculous.
So while sometimes I miss the activity, that the forums had back then, but then the other part of me is just so glad I don't have to deal with that stuff on a daily basis. All the phone calls, all the messaging, all the trying to make everybody happy crap. I'm so glad that doesn't happen anymore.
Oh, I wish there was a little piece of that drama you could read for us right now.
It's all there somewhere. We have never deleted anything. I'm sure you can find it.
Now
that's a rabbit hole you don't want to get into, though. I mean, you'd be stuck in the forums for years just trying to get through most of it. It was thick.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then, of course, we still have our opinionated members that just can't seem to have any type of conversation without blowing some type of blood vessel while they're typing. But that's been pretty normal. I think everybody's used to it at this point, so they don't really. I don't know.
It ain't caps and everything.
Nah, it's just like if somebody starts talking about your Cheeto daddy, or no, I'm sorry. Let's say they start talking good about your Cheeto daddy.
What do you mean? Like
You're president. You're president.
50% of the population out there.
Well, I'm just saying, let's say somebody on our forums starts talking good about your president, right?
Yeah, the Cheeto Daddy. Okay.
The Cheeto Daddy. We've got some members that will actually respond back with so much venom that it is just absolutely unbelievable that you just can't have conversations anymore in this day and age when it comes to politics at all. It is over.
Well, and it's also, and I've noticed this not so much in the forums because I don't actually visit the forums, but in our Facebook group, if you, boy, you cannot joke. You cannot joke anymore about anything, or you're automatically branded a pedophile, a child abuser. Basically, you're just a piece of shit.
It's like everybody has become so quote unquote woke that you absolutely can't say shit anymore.
Very hypersensitive.
Oh my God, it is unbelievable. And I don't use Facebook. I use it for our website, but I have to get on it every day. I have to get on it every day, and they always automatically give you a feed, of course, of whatever the fuck they think you want to see. I spent the other day unfollowing anybody, pro or con, that was talking about politics, especially because that whole immigration thing has been a big fucking hotbed of conversations. Or not even conversations, but a bunch of people acting like they're fucking rogue scholars or something. And you're on fucking Facebook. You know nothing, pro or con. And I just started unfollowing them until I could get my feed to where it was just dumbass, make me choose 2 movies. Who started that shit? I wish I could unfollow those too, but
Farmville.
I'm on Facebook for the memes. That's it.
I got it. I would use. There's a couple groups that I'm a part of. One's a gore type group, and one's kind of a very, very non-PC group. And sometimes I'll go in there for that. But for the most part, I can just go to Reddit or Kiwi Farms or even some YouTube channels I got to go to. I can
invite
get my
me
fill.
Invite me to the non-PC group. I need a few more of those.
Okay. Yeah, I'll get it. But yeah, they're still out there. I mean, and I would almost say that we're actually still in the majority. It's just right now, if you do, at least from what I'm seeing, that if you do make any off-color jokes, like the jokes we used to make on our own site that I don't make anymore, because the last time that we had any type of, what do you call it? The last time some people disagreed with something that I said or did, we lost a shitload of forum members because of it, because they were so mad. And we had a bunch of people contact our advertisers, and I lost them all.
Because they burn your damn house down.
Because they didn't agree with me. So that's the way they do it now. So a lot of people just, some don't, but if you've got something to lose from a professional standpoint, you got to be real careful what battles you decide to fight in the online space, because they will go after you. They lynch mob pretty easy.
Yep.
So I just soon not deal with it at this point in time. Things will swing back around the other way. I'm just waiting it out. This has happened before. What a lot of people don't realize, especially younger people, my age, have seen this happen before. Before there even was the internet, and this was back in the days when they started.
Back in my day.
Well, this was. Well, you can still see the effects of it today. A lot of the things that people used to enjoy that they now find problematic, like even the Simpsons Apu character or Friends, transphobia and homophobia, misogynistic jokes in Friends, things that just didn't really seem to bother anybody that much. That all was a direct result from back in the 80s when Tipper Gore and all them got together and started censoring music, Movies, horror movies got slashed all to hell. If you ever wondered why Friday the 13th looked one way and Friday the 13th Part 3 looked one way, but Friday the 13th Part 2 had almost everything cut out of it, that time period was when people were clutching pearls about violent movies and violent music. And you remember all the PRMCA stickers they'd stick on the stop that was supposed to,
deter a teenager from purchasing it,
which all it did was make them want it more. But anyway, the direct result of that was when we started getting our Sam Kinnisons, our fucking Andrew Dice Clays, Married with Children. For every action, there's a reaction, and it's going to happen again. I just don't think this one's going to be as fun as the last one. So
yeah, it's not fun.
No, because the reaction at this point in time has went really, really far into the extreme, and I'm really curious how that's going to swing back the other way. Anyway, we'll see. So let me see here. Top 10. What do we have here? We got the couple that was arrested after their adult daughter was found inside a wooden cage in the basement. And we've had stuff like that before, but normally they were young kids. But this one was an 18-year-old that they had locked up in a wooden cage in the basement. And supposedly she suffered from fetal alcohol syndrome. Is that what that's called? Yeah.
That would explain why she's still in a cage at 18.
Well, no, to them, they were saying that she would sleepwalk. So they would lock her into this wooden, it's almost like a chicken coop, into this wooden cage in the basement at night so they could get some sleep. But the police that found her, this small cage she was in had like a toilet in it full of piss and shit. So she had been in there for longer than a night. So that was one of them. We had the I really, in fact, I haven't read the comments on this. Deputy molested 4-year-old relative. Let me switch over here. A Texas deputy has been accused of sexually molesting a 4-year-old relative and blackmailing her illegal immigrant mother with deportation if she reported him. Oh no, there is a lot of comments. I'm just curious how quick it was before Trump came up, and I'm scrolling through the comments as I'm looking through here. Huh. Oh, well, we got this one. Mexican men seem to rape little girl relatives a lot. Look at arrest records in large Mexican populated cities and see the amount of DWI, no insurance crashes, and rape of kids.
Somebody needs to check their facts a little bit harder.
They could be right. I haven't looked.
I think it's all around the board. I think there's basically an even amount through every color, race.
I would agree.
Sorry, I was reading one of the comments. That guy that said that, or girl, I don't know who said that about the Mexican men. Another member came in and said, a man hit my wife with his car years ago. He did the no habla act. Cop was Caucasian and pretended not to know Spanish. Perp started to talk to Buddy in Spanish how he was going to get away with this because Cop would get tired of not being able to talk to him. Cop said, really, you think I would get tired and go away? In Spanish. Of course, he had no insurance license and was undocumented, illegal. And
yeah, that happened.
Right. But then somebody, I've heard somebody tell that story about 50 times. Then the person came in, and there's a reason why I'm reading this, but another person chimed in and said, there are plenty of worthless pieces of shit of every race, creed, and color. You are the living embodiment of that. And then the person he was replying to said, so my wife was a victim, and I am a worthless piece of shit, and that makes every illegal border crosser a saint that needs to be worshipped? And then the person responded back, like in all caps, you're an asshole for making this about race, you stupid fuck. You're a worthless piece of shit for pretending that bad people are all Mexicans, pretending to not speak English. Do you get it now? Question mark, question mark, question mark. The fuck is wrong?
I'm looking at it.
The fuck is wrong with you, dude? Let's lock up kids in cages because my wife was hit by a dude speaking Spanish one time. Fucking ridiculous. It's always 0 to 100.
Yeah, that
I read
was
fucking ridiculous as fucking noodles.
That was Mobius Climber. Mobius Climber. You're trash. Put yourself in the incinerator and do the world a favor.
I do want to call out a Tammy Henson in the comments on that story because they said something that I found hilarious, and she actually corrected herself. She said, "That's sick. Bitch needs to be sent through a tree grinder after she is after she is raped over and over again by the same MS-13. Poor baby. She was just a pawn all along." Well, it wasn't the comment and her wanting the woman to be raped over and over again. It was the fact that she called a fucking wood chipper a tree grinder. So she actually responded back to herself and says, "LOL, LOL, wood chipper, not a tree grinder. I couldn't think of the word when I posted this reply. Tree grinder."
Yeah, that's awesome.
Talking in the wood chipper tree grinder.
Yeah, we were laughing about that, trying to think of different things to call just regular objects. Tree grinder. It's a metal hitter. You mean a hammer?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. You know what I meant. All right, so we got this Michigan woman beat her 5-month-old son to death. The only reason why I posted it was because the father of her 2 twins was her one-time stepfather. That was the whole reason why I posted that story. I try to stay away from the child abuse ones, man. I know this is going to sound horrible, but they got to really, really fuck a kid up in a horrific way to get me to even post the story.
Or a new way.
Or a new way. And I know that sounds horrible, but my God, I could do a child abuse story a day. I just don't. I just get sick of writing them.
I went through that with shaken babies.
Yeah, I remember when that was that was like a thing. And hot car babies.
Hot car baby.
Hot car babies. That was
shake and bake baby.
We had shaken babies and hot car babies, and we used to post them all the time because they were kind of new to us at the time. But now it's every year. It's like Christmas. It comes around every fucking year, and I got sick of posting those. I'll tell you another thing I got sick of posting, and that's teachers fucking students. I got tired of posting those. Every year, all year long.
And men with ginormous collections of child porn.
Yeah, you got to have like a record-breaking collection before I'm going to post it.
Right.
Yep.
And I think we had a guy that I don't think his record's going to be broken. So I think that may have been it for people with large collections of child pornography.
Now don't be sending out a challenge.
Oh, and another one. I'm not sick of posting them yet, but there are a lot of them now, and that's the chicks that molest their kids for some dude online.
And that seems to be, I hate to say that, it seems to be a little more, I forgot the word. It seems to be happening a lot more lately.
Well, I don't know if it's happening more or just being reported on more, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. Maybe when one of them saw one of these stories, they were like, "Oh wow, really? I can make some money doing this. I can do this without getting caught."
Returning cans, shit. Because it used to be we do maybe 1 year on those, and now every time you turn on the news, every other week or so, there's a story.
Yeah, I think I have literally, and I wasn't ever a kind of a, I never wrote anything out of any type of feelings. Sometimes there were some animal abuse ones, and I think back in the day when we first started getting our rolling forward type stories, where I would actually could feel my blood pressure going up just thinking about what they did to the person or the animal. But I literally, I think after all these years of writing these, I think I am 100% desensitized to everything.
Oh, definitely. Except for some of the animal.
Yeah, the animal
stories.
ones can still get to me a bit, which is surprising. But yeah, nothing at all surprises me or shocks me anymore. Absolutely nothing. There's nothing anybody can say that I'm going to sit there and go, no, bullshit.
Right? Right? You just be nodding along going, yeah, I can see that.
Let's see here. We got another kid got mauled to death by a roommate's German Shepherd. So at least we got a breed change. Not much of the story except for she left her 5-month-old girl with her roommate who had a German Shepherd, and she went out that night. And when she came back earlier that morning, the roommate was asleep, and the baby had been mauled to death by the roommate's dog.
I'm sure that made the pity crowd extremely happy.
Well, you know what? Let's see here.
That's what I'm looking at. Yep.
Did it?
It's crazy how on pit bull attacks there are 150 comments about getting rid of them, and this only has 3. Where's all that outrage?
Well, for one, Jessica Ann, my comment system's fucked, so that 3 you were looking at was not accurate. You actually had 11. Well, and on the flip side of that, it's just because, we all know why. And in fact, I can't remember what airline just recently announced they were no longer allowing pit bulls as support animals on their airplanes because of all the attacks and bites that they've gotten from that particular breed of dog. Did you read that? Did you hear about that?
I saw the headline.
I don't remember who it was. I don't remember which airline is doing it, but
a major airline.
Yeah, a big one. Look, people can say what they want. I'm not a pit bull hater. I really don't give a shit. It could have been any breed of dog, but if you like it or not, if you're a pit bull lover or not, they are responsible for the most human deaths. Maybe not the most bites, but definitely the most deaths. And
well, that's the argument. That's the hardest part of the argument to get through to people, though, is yes, those little ankle biters might bite more, but you're just going to have a sore ankle.
Right.
Kick the shit out of them and
jugular taken out.
Right. That's the whole thing. They don't get it. Yeah, there may be a sweet one, and then all of a sudden, but if a kid comes up to it and darts out at it, it gets startled and just lunges out and bites for whatever reason because it's a dog. But when it does, it's going to be a powerful bite.
Yeah, we've actually had a couple stories on the site where these people raised the pit bulls exactly how they're supposed to be raised, in a kind and loving, caring environment. One of the women was actually a pit bull advocate. Another one that I can recall right off the top of my head was an older man who had raised this dog, wasn't fighting him, wasn't abusing him, wasn't, neglecting him. Both of these people got their asses killed by their pit bulls that they had raised from puppies in exactly the right way that they should have.
Yeah, I remember that pit bull advocate one. Oh, by the way, Simply Spastastic says it was Delta Airlines.
Okay.
Delta.
Yep.
That pit bull advocate I think she was between 7 and 9 months pregnant as well at the time. So it can happen.
It can happen.
But the smart thing is, in all seriousness, not even talking about pit bulls, but a 5-month-old girl should not be left alone with any dog, because we've reported on many babies that were killed by snakes. I think we had one that had its face eaten off by a raccoon. Or a ferret. Was it a ferret? It was something.
It was a raccoon.
And then we also had a ferret.
I don't remember that one, but I remember that raccoon one because it had some great comments.
Yeah.
Not sweet at all.
No.
The kids or the animals?
The raccoons.
Oh, okay.
Those guys are vicious.
Trash pandas, that's what we call them.
But they're so cute.
They're cute.
Because they have hands. If they didn't have hands, nobody would think that.
I'll just tell you this. The other night, I went out to walk my dog at like midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, and there was a raccoon, and I decided to throw some rocks at it, kind of like spook it. It didn't budge. It didn't flinch. It didn't move. It just kept staring at me. My dog's walking around all happy, looking for his spot, and this raccoon's dead eyes with me. And finally, I hit it with a rock, and it took off and went down a gutter. But other times, I've approached one with a stick.
Why?
A broomstick or something.
Why?
Because I wake up at 3 in the morning and want to smoke a cigarette. And open the garage, and there's a damn raccoon. I have 800 acres of woods behind me. And there's no telling what might creep up. But this particular night, it was a raccoon, and I stomped at it, and it did not budge. I was like, okay. Kind of remind me of that when we was a kid and we had that possum cornered, remember?
Now those are gross.
Yeah, they'll lunge out at you too.
They have hands and they're not cute.
They got some sharp ass teeth
and opposable thumbs.
See, one day you're gonna come after one of them things with a broomstick, and it's gonna be rabid.
Right, I'm gonna have to get
and then you're gonna be on the DD.
Oh, we've got
I'll be rabid after that.
Well, we got video. Remember the videos we had? We had a little rash there of rabid foxes attacking people, and it was on camera. And that's like horrific. That little fucker, the way it attacks people when these animals get rabid. And I remember we did another story about the otter. Remember the otter?
That was awesome.
That attacked. Just tore this chick up, man.
It was a dude.
Was it a dude?
It was a dude, and the 911 call was the funniest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Was it a rabbit otter?
I don't know.
No, I think that otter was just pissed off.
It was cute.
It was cute.
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't think the dude died or anything, but yeah, he probably had some, bites on his face and shit. But I mean, cute.
I think I just found yours. I think I found your story.
What the hell?
The otter story?
Yeah, and the 911 call's gone. Damn it.
Yeah.
A throwback.
It was on SoundCloud and it's now gone. Damn.
I have excerpts of it from in the article.
Oh, that sucks.
Don't talk about my shit like that.
I wanted to hear the audio on it. We've got who was this? Another woman that left her kid in the car. The kid didn't die. She was shoplifting in Walmart and left a kid and she didn't when she got busted inside a Walmart and got arrested, she didn't tell the cops that she had her kid in the car out in the parking lot in like 90-degree weather. So she got charged with that as well.
But he was 7.
Yeah, he could have just opened the door.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here's one. This was the dude. This was actually happened over in England. Young guy. He was only 22, just turned 22, and he was with his friends at a friend's home in the kitchen, and he told them that he was wearing a vest that was stab-proof. And you can guess what happened since he was on our site when he used a knife to show them.
That's because he's 22.
Yeah. So he ended up stabbing himself in the chest. And killing himself. But he was he's the first guy we've had who accidentally stabbed themselves. We've had a lot of shooting ones where people accidentally shot themselves wearing bulletproof vests.
Yeah.
At least 3 before where people were killed testing a bulletproof vest. But we haven't had anybody get killed testing out a stab-proof vest.
That's interesting.
Is it?
Well, you think he would have tried it on something first other than himself, like a book.
Yeah, well, that's true. Let's see here. We had the couple accused of murdering a 6-year-old. Standard stuff. I think it was like a stepkid. Got beat to death. But the only reason why I posted this one was because of the injury she suffered. Aside from bruises, she had bites on her inner thighs, and her head was so damaged, it said that the crack in her skull went from one ear over her head to the other.
Jeez.
Yeah, that's a hell of a crack.
Yeah, and the parents tried to say that she did it herself by ramming her head into a wall. And of course,
well, totally believable.
Yeah. Right. So of course they knew that wasn't the case. So they are both behind bars now. There they are.
Right.
There's your great.
And then
people.
there was another fracture. 2 fractures.
Yeah. She had a bunch. It was almost like her head was crushed.
Yeah. Right.
Here's one I don't have an update on, and if anybody, if you can look, that would be awesome. This was the man that was charged with throwing sulfuric acid on a neighbor's baby in Utah. This guy seems like a real jackass, and I don't know there wasn't a lot of details behind why he may have done this, but supposedly he just walked up to a neighbor's infant and threw sulfuric acid on the baby. And at the time I wrote it, there was no updates on the condition of the baby, but his charges were kind of telling. They charged him with two second-degree felony counts of child abuse inflicting serious physical intentional injury, and then some because he tried to escape after he got caught. But I didn't check to see what the condition of the baby was over the last couple days, which I'm doing right now.
I'm not seeing it.
I'm not seeing anything either. Oh, there it is. Let's see here. The 3-year-old child who had burns on his face, neck, and chest has been released from a hospital. A 5-year-old boy was burned on his back. Damn. The Desert News reports the boys were injured when 32-year-old Smithfield resident Jason Keith Summers walked onto his neighbor's property and threw a substance similar to drain cleaner on the boys. That's some shit, man. I guarantee you he's going to be locked up for a long time for that.
Yeah, I mean, you're just sitting there with your kids, or maybe they were just hanging out by themselves. I don't know, but this guy just walks over and dumps stuff on them.
And he said it was just dirt. But why would you even be throwing dirt on somebody else's kid?
Right. Well, he wasn't all there anyway. He's got something missing. He tried to escape, and then they caught him. And then when they got him in the car, he said he was feeling sick. So the cop rolled down the back window, and he was able to get out from his seatbelt and flop out of the window. And he got caught again and taken to the hospital, then to jail.
Then to the funny farm.
I might have maybe ran him over once or twice before I picked him back up.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he got it in the elevator.
Or threw some dirt.
Let's see here. And then we've got the, how old was this fucking guy? 20 years old. He got caught in a cemetery with 5 underage girls, 2 of which were unconscious. And this is definitely an example of just horrible life decisions. This guy, 20-year-old Jordan McLean, he met a 16-year-old girl on Facebook who lived in a foster home, and he agreed to drive from Mobile. I'm assuming, I don't know exactly where that is. Maybe that is Alabama. I'm not sure. But he drove a long time. He agreed to go pick her up in Mississippi. And when he arrived to pick her up from the foster home, 4 other girls got in the car as well, and they all ranged between the age of 11 and 16. So mistake number 1, of course, was being a 20-year-old picking up a 16-year-old foster kid, and then mistake number 2 was letting her and 3 or 4 other underage girls in your car. But then he gave them weed and Xanax, and they were seen at a beach where somebody called police and said that there were some intoxicated people at the beach. But when the cops showed up, they were already gone. But they found them inside of a cemetery, and 2 of the girls had already passed out from whatever they had done. So as you can imagine, they were all returned back to the foster home. But the McLean was initially charged with multiple counts of contributing to delinquency of a minor. But after they did their investigation, this guy got 3 counts of felony child abuse causing serious bodily harm. So they're holding him in jail on a $25,000 bond. So I'm assuming that those felony charges are going to hurt. But what he'll do, he'll probably plead down to something. That would be my guess. He'll just plead down to something.
Yeah, probably.
Depending on his record.
You better hope his record's clean.
Yeah.
And then from the looks of it, I'd have to say no. From the looks of him.
Either that or he just made the dumbest decisions he's ever made in his entire life all in one night.
He looks like he's fucked up more than one.
And then
he doesn't look real bright.
No, he doesn't.
He's flickering. He's like a bulb that flickers.
And then,
but anyway, good luck.
Our number one story of the week, and I just reported on this, so it went up there pretty quick. And I actually missed the story when it first came out. But when it was initially reported, it was about a 51-year-old Sherry Johnson who was found in her backyard decapitated by, at the time, allegedly, was her son that had done that. And what was his name? Terrell Johnson. But they released an update to the report that not only did he admit doing it, he said that him and his mom had gotten, and this guy obviously suffers from a history of, he has a history of mental problems.
And he is one big dude.
Yeah, he's big, and he's an Army veteran. And he said that him and his mom got in an argument over credit cards, and he ended up choking her until she quit breathing, hopefully. That's what he says. And then he cut her head off and took her body and her head in the backyard so it wouldn't stink up the house. But the details that came out was that he says that in order to remove her head, he used a butter knife, his hands, and his teeth to decapitate the woman.
That took some serious fucking determination. I mean,
could you imagine the PTSD that any neighbor would have suffered had they actually seen him doing that?
Well, I would hope, first of all, that's not going to be done quick. You got a butter knife in your teeth and your hands. Right. I would hope that, if a neighbor had seen that, instead of just watching until it finishes, they would have called the cops.
I don't know.
Because that had to take a minute.
I don't know. Because if that happened, I could see myself just sitting there going, just like, what the fuck am I looking
like
at?
Like The Walking Dead.
It's like, what the hell is going? Yeah, it probably did. Probably looked like that.
Damn.
But his defense attorney is looking at possibly going with an insanity defense, which I don't think anybody's going to disagree. The guy has some mental problems, but as he admitted, they're hard. They're tough. Insanity defenses are tough because juries don't like them. So he was waiting to get more history on his mental health. That there's been, past history with that. His family says that there has been. So I guess we'll see just how nuts this guy was.
God damn.
But yep, that was our number one story. Was the decapitation by teeth.
Chewing on mama.
Yep. Not as crazy as the guys that decapitated themselves with homemade guillotines, but still, that's one of the crazier decapitations we've had.
I thought one of the craziest ones was somebody who tied a rope around their neck, got in the car, and sped off. That one tripped me out, the first one that we had. And then there was actually two that I can remember, but that one freaked me out.
Yeah, we've actually had two people decapitate themselves using the rope in the car trick, and then we've had two people that we've reported on, at least, or maybe more, but two people that built homemade guillotines and cut their heads off that way. Which I
do remember.
I would rather do the guillotine thing. I think that would be the most clean, if you knew that it was going to work correctly and not just stop halfway, But if it was actually going to go through, that would be probably the quickest way to go.
Well, I do know that I'm not going by butter knife.
No.
Never.
Because that might take a little bit long.
Gosh, of all the tools he could have used.
Out of the kitchen, grab a fucking... Why don't you get a spoon?
Yes, scoop it out. A scooping decapitation.
Unbelievable.
A scooper. Ice cream.
Yeah, using one of them plastic ones. Using like a plastic ice cream scooper.
That you can't even get your ice cream out of the carton with.
Well, that's why,
too dull.
Back when the ISIS beheading videos were making the rounds, that was always the first fucking thing that I would think of is like, man, could you guys have not gotten a sharper knife on some of these fellas? But I guess that's the point. I don't know if you've ever watched any of them, but they are not clean.
Not to change the subject too much.
No, it's a multiple sawing to the point where I think you can actually see the ISIS guy's face going, oh, fuck. This is taking forever.
It's like they're using a serrated steak knife.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And I saw another video that you would think that would have been a quick way to die, and it turns out is not at all, and that's a chainsaw, where I watched that Mexican cartel use a chainsaw on a guy, and the other guy, I think, got the knife. And I think that had they given me the choice, I would have told him to chainsaw. But now after watching that video, and I'm just telling you, if you're ever in this position, choose the knife, because the chainsaw was horrific, and it was not quick at all.
And clean. It wasn't clean cut either, right?
I didn't really care about the clean cut part if it had went all the way through on one swipe like you see in the movies, you know.
But you have to kind of know that, because when guys are up in the trees, you know, with their chainsaws and shit, they don't often lose an entire arm when the chainsaw slips. It's hanging on by like a piece of sinew.
Right, but I thought that if you've got a guy held in place and you're going to use a chainsaw on their neck, that it would just go right through. And it does not do that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, after I've taken one major thing with me tonight, if I have to go, I'm going through a tree grinder.
Man,
put me in a tree grinder.
Don't say that, because then somebody will stick you in feet first, which would be the worst.
Oh, yeah. That would be shitty.
Yeah, I went on a kick today. I was actually looking to see if anybody had video on the dude that set himself on fire in Portland, and which usually takes me to a couple.
Wait, he did it here?
Maybe it was Portland. Maybe it was Seattle.
Somebody
Portland,
recently
Maine.
set themselves on fire out here, and I didn't. That's who you're talking about?
Yeah, that's got to be it. That's got to be them. But anyway, I was looking to see if there was any video of that, because I was going to try to write something up real quick, which usually takes me to 3 or 4 different sites to go to look for things like that. So then I got stuck at watching workplace accidents, and holy shit, man. I mean, some of these are just absolutely horrendous, the way some of these people go. And the one of them I watched today was this dude. It looks like it was a giant, maybe 9-foot stack of concrete on the back of I want to say a truck, but it could have been like some type of loading dock. And but it falls backwards, and the guy instinctively holds his hands up to stop it from falling. You know, I guess just instinct to stop it. And when it falls and crushes him, it actually crushes him as if he was sitting down and bent forward, like with his head between his knees. And that's how the shit landed on top of him and crushed him. And that thing was like even on the pavement.
Oh.
And so you're like, okay, well, at least that one was probably instantaneous. But then I watched another one. And this was like an industrial accident where I don't know what the machine did, but it was some type of a press. It was some type of press. I don't know what it did, but he had it open, and I think he was doing something in it, maybe working on it or clearing a jam or something. But the damn thing comes down on him on his back. He's like leaned inside of it, and it goes down on him, and he starts kicking. And he's trying to lift it up, but the thing just keeps going down because it's like an industrial type presser. So I don't know what it was being, it could have been fuel based or hydraulic. I don't know, but oh my God, dude, it took like 30 seconds to kill that guy. And in fact, I think probably what it did was just stopped him from being able to expand his lungs. So he probably just suffocated or whatever, asphyxiated while this thing was, man, the shitty ways you can die at work is just absolutely crazy.
That's why we should ban work.
I'm 100% agreement.
I was trying to find a little bit more information, of course, because it's in Portland, and I want to know about that guy that set himself on fire, to see what he was protesting. Because in Portland, somebody's protesting something every minute of every fucking day.
Well, it depends on who you read. If you depending on what circles you're in, if you're on the social justice warriors side, they are blaming everybody from Kiwi Farms for bullying her to Gamergate people for bullying her.
Well, no, because they were talking about a manifesto. He set himself on fire.
Mm-hmm.
Self on fire in front of a store, and a couple of the witnesses said that the manifesto had something to do with homelessness and mental health.
Yes. Yeah.
So all of those for mental health, homeless.
She was a mess anyway. She had
Apparently.
a long history of mental problems, documented online. I mean, she had many online breakdowns. Let me put it this way, and we'll talk about this later. She echoed up until she actually did it. Certain people that we know of already. God damn, my echo for whatever reason. I don't know if you have one, but I have an echo in my room, and I have an Alexa out in the main room. And the Alexa doesn't do it, but my Echo, sometimes I'll be watching a movie or playing a video game, and then this fucking Echo would be like, I have found a 15-pack of ball bearings. Would you like to order them now? And I'll be sitting there going, no. No.
I think that's why the Spawn's boyfriend wants one of those to interact with a video game or something like that. I'm not sure if that's rumor or it was something that was shown during the E3.
Oh, they were doing a joke because Bethesda's Skyrim is on everything, and so as a joke, they did a fake commercial with what's his name? I can't remember the actor's name, but they did a joke where he's playing Skyrim on his refrigerator, and and he's playing Skyrim on his Alexa. And then it turns out that they weren't joking about the Alexa. We tried it the other day, but I don't know how far you get or how you play it. But yeah, you can actually play Skyrim on your Alexa.
Yeah, the Spawn's boyfriend wants one of those for that purpose. Me, I don't want anything in my fucking house that can talk back to me. Period.
We use the Alexa a good bit out there. I don't use it in here much. I use it to control my lights. So.
You're such a lazy ass. I swear to God. Why don't you just get a clapper?
It basically is exactly that, a clapper. Yeah.
But it costs 20 times more than a fucking clapper you can pick up at Walgreens.
Yeah.
But it does other things. It tells me tells me what time it is.
Plays music.
You can't even. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm not going to argue this with you, you lazy ass.
A clapper does not give you the time. Sorry.
No, my cell phone does. And my computer. I have like 7 different devices in my house that can tell me the time at any given moment.
Strawman arguments. I'm giving you the reasons why I use an Echo over a clapper.
I wear a $6,000 watch that tells me what time it is.
Actually, I do have 7 devices in my house that tell time, but none of them say the same fucking time.
We got so sick of that here that everybody knows that the stove time is 15 minutes behind. We just quit fixing it. We know the microwave is never right, so don't even look at it. So the
I'm just within about 5 minutes on most of my devices, but nothing says the same fucking time except for my cell phone and my computer.
My car time on my radio, I never adjust it for daylight savings, so I always know, it's either going to be an hour behind or ahead, depending on, or it's either going to be, whatever.
You're one of those people.
Mine automatically adjusts.
I just don't care.
You are one of those people. Oh my God.
It's not like that. My alarm clock gets me up to go to work, and I get out of my car and go, "Oh, goddamn, I'm an hour early." It can't possibly be that the clock is wrong.
It makes my OCD just fucking nuts when I get into somebody's car and they have not switched their clock.
No, you'd hate it. You'd hate mine.
4 in the afternoon and their clock says 7 a.m.
Yeah, that shit.
It's blinking in the car.
It just makes me itchy just thinking about it. Oh, God.
And then we say, is that the right time, dude?
Yes, it's 7 a.m.
It's 7?
Oh, here's some breaking news. I don't know if it's like that breaking, but you remember Neve? Do you ever watch Catfish on fucking MTV?
Yes.
Well, you remember Neve? They pulled his show off the air because he got accused by some crazy lady that he had tried to sexually do some shit with her during the filming of one of her episodes. And so they pulled her. Well, they just came out and it says, on Friday, the network announced that it had resumed filming after determining that the claims made against Schulman were baseless.
No shit, you're dealing with a show where people are lying through their fucking teeth.
Well, she was the one being lied to.
Oh, okay.
But her whole story didn't make any sense. It truly just made no sense what she was saying that had happened. But, you know, in this day and age, it's just like what they did with that Chris Hardwick. Now, I've heard some people say that Chris Hardwick guy's an asshole. I don't know how he is personally. I don't know the fucking guy. And maybe he did do the things they said he did. But what is scary is now is all it takes is for a chick to say, six years ago, this guy was a shitty boyfriend, and he made me do things. And then immediately the answer is to remove every bit of ability they have to make money. Immediate, without even checking in to see if anything was true or not. It has something to do with this Me Too movement and this listen and believe mantra that goes out that women just don't lie about this, which we know is 100% false because we report on them all the time. Yes. So, and I was not saying that's the case with Chris Hardwick. I don't know. I don't know if he did or didn't do it, but the reaction to pull all his shows and shit immediately was fucking nuts. And then these people that wanted to come out and virtue signal just started tossing this fucking guy under the bus. I mean, immediately that day, without even knowing if anything was true or not.
Right.
So now, like this Neve guy from Catfish, I'm curious because I didn't pay much attention to it when it happened, but if any of these people, if the same thing happened to him, they pulled the show for temporarily.
Right away.
And I'm curious if people come out against him as well. Like, I knew he's a piece of shit. I worked with him for blah, blah, blah. And now he gets his show back. And this dumbass went and said that shit. Because there's a big difference between somebody being a dickhead and somebody being a rapist. They can be both, but they can also be one or the other.
I don't recall anybody else coming out against Neve. And as far as the Hardwick guy is concerned, I had no idea who he even was. I had to Google his shit.
I've known him because he hosted a late night type game show that was based on the internet, memes and stuff. And that's when I first saw him. I mean, I wasn't a fan or not a fan. It was just a stupid show that came on before something else I watched. So it was on at midnight or something. But then he started hosting all the the Walking Deads. After The Walking Dead, it was his show, The Talking Dead, where you would have cast members on to talk about the show. And then they had him on after another show, and I can't remember if it was another show. I can't remember which one it was. But he had like a little talk show. But supposedly all these people come out saying he was a real jackass and he was a piece of shit and he treated people under him real bad. But you know, again, I don't know if any of that's true or professional jealousy. Yeah, who knows? I don't know.
And it still doesn't make you a girlfriend abuser or a rapist.
Well, that's the only thing that worries me is it seems that some of this Me Too shit that these women are describing bad dates.
Yeah.
Not actual any type of a sexual assault. I remember that one guy. Who is he? He's Indian looking, Azaria. Something I can't remember. He's a comedian, but basically that woman came out with that big report on him and did a Me Too thing on him, and what she described just sounded like a guy that was wanting to get laid that night.
Which most of them do when they're taking a woman out on a date.
Right. She just seemed like she was basically acting like she was sexually assaulted because he was just wanting sex with her, or maybe even had sex with her and didn't call her the next day or something.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think it would be very scary to be a man in this atmosphere.
Control.
Yeah,
out of control.
Just don't talk to them. Just don't talk to women. Don't even look at them.
I'm married.
That's worse.
Oh my God, Pagan, that's way worse.
That is a lot worse.
You got a lot to lose with that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel, you know, and the hate men atmosphere that's going on right now too, that hurts me because, you know, I have a son. I raised a great son. He is not one of those guys yet. You know, he gets, because he has a penis, he's one of those guys. You know, I feel bad for men sometimes. And of course, that's not to say that there's not a bunch of rapist, nasty fucks out there, but they're not all like that.
Now, I tell you what, man, I'm glad I'm not rich and famous because, man, I would be calling so many people. Go, it wasn't that bad. It was good, right? Right?
Oh yeah, you'd be doing some heavy phone work.
I'd have to get a PR rep just to field those stupid calls. Yeah, whatever.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, that was it for the top 10 stories and some other bullshit going on in the news. There was some more stuff, but we'll hold on to them. It wasn't that important. It was just some headlines I saw as I was looking for some updates. But anyway, I'm going to stop this, but I want you guys to stay on the line real quick because I need to talk to you anyway, Jaded, about the other thing that we didn't want to talk about on the air.
Aight.
So, anyway, I think we're getting the hang of it. I don't think we had any technical difficulties this time around, so I got some other things to work on, but eventually we'll get this up to a full-fledged show. But I think technically...
Not professional, mind you.
Never. But technically, I didn't have any problems. I think the audio went fine. I'm sure some people would wish I'd quit hitting the fucking vape while I was podcasting. But other than that, I think everything went all right. So, look, everybody, have a great week. We'll be back posting stories on Monday, and we will be back doing another podcast on Friday or Saturday. I don't know which yet. We'll discuss that later. But I'm hoping that eventually, if we can get this to go really smooth and easy, we can do a midweek one. Maybe a shorter one, but one for the midweek. But we'll talk about all that crap later. So, anyway, have a good rest of your weekend, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.